Hey, what's up, man? It's Imbalance, also known as Davey Scorsese, and this is my first podcast, so pretty cool. As you can tell, it's definitely my first podcast by that generic ass intro that you just heard. Yeah, sorry about that. The very stock intro music with the Imbalance podcast, but I'll think of something better. I just wanted to get the word out. So let's kind of just talk about what this podcast is all about. First of all, I'm new at this. I'm kind of learning as I go along. I don't have an engineer, a producer, or anything like that assisting me with the production. I'm just kind of recording and going and just winging it pretty much. So if you don't like it, well, don't know what to tell you. Audio quality might not be the greatest. Again, don't know what to tell you. I'm a total noob at all this. But also, if you hear me kind of heavy breathing and sniffling, I don't have COVID. I just have allergies. So please bear with me with that as well. But what the podcast I'm trying to do here is it's kind of just a form of therapy for me. I'm just kind of, instead of holding my thoughts in, I just kind of want to let them out somehow. So why not put them out into the ether and record a podcast? And maybe people will listen. Maybe they won't. Either way, it's going to help me. So that's the main goal here. I'm going to talk about anything and everything. Maybe there will be more of a theme the more I go along. I don't know. I don't even know if I'll do another one of these. I'm very bad at commitment. Hell, it's been almost 2 years a little over 2 years since I released my last album, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. The music news. But first, let's talk about the big news that happened. As I record this, it's almost the end of November 7th, 2020. We're about to go into November 8th. But the big news to come out today is that Joe Biden is projected to be the 46th president of the United States. Yes, it looks like he's going to be defeating Donald Trump. And we'll get into all of that in a second. But yeah, Biden's going to be our man, it looks like. And there's a lot of mixed feelings about that from a lot of different people. Some people are very pissed off. Some people are scared for the future of our country. Some people are excited. They're happy. They look forward to what the future brings. I guess my best way to describe how I feel is cautiously optimistic. I view myself as a libertarian. My views really align with the libertarian ideals the most. I'm not a member of the Libertarian Party, though I consider myself more of a independent. So Joe Biden, he wouldn't be my first choice, second choice, probably not even my 10th choice to be president. But my biggest hope is the division that has plagued this country for the last 4 years kind of just, eases down. I know it's going to be not an easy journey towards that. But Biden gave his victory speech today, and I have a little bit of hope for it. I still don't really trust the guy. He's got to earn that trust from me. But he did say that, how do you put it? He kind of extended like an olive branch, to Trump's voters, saying that he understood their disappointment because he's lost before running for things. But he said, let's give each other a chance. He said, it's time to put away the harsh rhetoric, to lower the temperature, to see each other again, to listen to each other again, to make progress. We must stop treating our opponents as our enemy. He said, "We're not enemies. We are Americans." And I really like that. That's a good start for your term here, is calling for Americans to unite, because it's gotten horrible out there. Actually, when I first heard the news today that he was projected to be president, my first reaction was panic, anxiety. I thought, how are people going to react to this? Because where I live, there was Trump signs everywhere you look. There's a few Biden signs, but it was mainly Trump signs. There's pickup trucks all over the place with Trump flags all over, honking their horns all over town. People standing on street corners waving Trump flags. And if anyone dared to, stand across the street with a BLM sign or a Biden sign, these Trump supporters would get in their faces and pretty much just antagonize them until they left. So, yeah, I didn't want to stick around town to see what was going to happen. I hauled ass and got home. And when I think about it, that's not how anyone should react when they hear the results of a presidential election. You shouldn't feel anxiety. You shouldn't feel, fear. Anything related to the government, our reaction should not be fear. As my man said in V for Vendetta, people should not fear their government. The government should fear the people. And that's kind of a ideology that I want to stick to. I've heard people say they're afraid of the direction our country is going to go. They think Biden and his, team of Democrats are going to lead us into socialism. Now, if anybody listens to this might lose them at what I'm about to say, but I am not a socialist. Not even close. As a libertarian, I think free markets and capitalism are the way to go. I don't think socialism has ever worked, and I don't think it ever will. Like I said, that's my opinion. You're entitled. I know a lot of my friends do believe in socialism, and that's their prerogative. They're free to do so. I just personally am not a socialist. And I don't think the majority of people in this country are either. So the people that are afraid of the socialism, first of all, last I heard, we still have a Republican majority in the Senate. So if Biden tries to pass something through that's way left, stumbling into socialism, I think they'll shut it down. And above all, I think we, the people, still have a voice, and we have final say over what the government does. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way. Sometimes it feels like we're powerless because, it feels like we're not heard, and they just kind of do what they want. A lot of Trump voters feel that way right now. They think that the election was stolen, that the Democrats forged ballots and used votes from dead people and Civil War veterans and things like that. But, time will tell on that one. But I think at the end of the day, we're still Americans, and I think we can work together to, for lack of a better word, make this country great again. And I don't think that's from some propaganda, nationalistic rhetoric that President Trump has used. I mean, if anything, his message has driven a stake further between us than ever before. I wasn't happy with the direction Trump was taking this country. I'm not confident that Biden will do a better job, but I think he'll be held more accountable, because Trump, his supporters were almost cult-like and celebrated everything the man said, clung on to his every word, and were fine with anything he'd do. Never held him to any accountability because he was right all the time, according to them. So I think it's good that we're going to have a new president that people are going to kind of, keep a closer eye on and be more critical of. And hopefully things will be all right. I know taxes will probably go up, which is awful. Taxation is theft, but I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But I know one thing. I'm not going to let fear take hold of me. I'm done with that. And I know anybody who follows me on social media knows I shitpost way too much. And I've been considering actually just getting off of social media altogether. And I think, speaking of social media, I think the biggest problem that our country has is social media. And I don't know how we can change that, because I do think platforms such as Facebook and Twitter have, changed the world. And that's something we can never come back from. But I think the overexposure of just constant information it's gotten us to where we are now. You see so many conspiracy theories all day, every day on Facebook and Twitter, and it's ridiculous. I used to be heavy into conspiracy theories. I still think there's more to JFK's assassination. I do think that extraterrestrial beings are out there, and we're not told about them. But at the same time, I don't know if maybe other people give the government more credit than I do. But if the government couldn't even shut up the one janitor that witnessed everything with Watergate, then how can they be behind so many of these so-called great conspiracies? I don't know. That's my opinion, but I do know that all this QAnon bullshit and just a whole bunch of other stuff it's driven people to the point of paranoia, just straight up paranoia. And that's why people they're on edge. They're ready to go to war against anyone who doesn't think the same way they do. And I know it sounds like I'm just calling out the right now, but the left is just as bad. There needs to be a compromise somewhere. You can't just be locked and loaded, ready to shoot anyone who you view as your enemy because they're on the other side of the political spectrum. That's never what this country's been about, and it's never what it should be about. But you got so much conspiracy theories making everyone trust no one. And that's a dangerous place to be. That's not the America I want to live in. I was taught to love my neighbor. And I really think we need to get back to that. But that's also why I didn't expect Joe Biden to win this election at all. I'm just as surprised as everyone. But there's even conspiracy theories surrounding this. And don't get me wrong, I know for a fact that there's corruption in our government. I'm not a blind supporter of everything the government does. I'm very skeptical of the government. I'm borderline an anarchist. My buddy Travis, GTS the King, he's an anarcho-capitalist. It's hard to even say. I'm more libertarian. I do think some law and order is needed, using the NAP as a basis, which is the non-aggression principle. You can Google that if you're not sure what that is. But there's so much BS out there that's got everyone thinking that, like people think Ellen DeGeneres eats babies and stuff like that. Like, and Tom Hanks, like, it's wild out there, man. And I don't think that's the direction we need to be in. Like, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. And, they always say, well, you should know to question everything. And I do, including your conspiracy theories. And then you get mad when I question your conspiracy theories. But, that's on you. That's not on me. I guess the only other thing I have to say about the election is, the whole conspiracy or controversy surrounding, the voter fraud. Yeah, it seems a little fishy. And, I think Donald Trump does deserve his day in court to get to the bottom of it. But he is handling this. It's embarrassing at this point how he's handled this. All caps tweets, just whining, complaining, crying, just taking all dignity out of the office of the president. He's handling this like a toddler. I told my friend today he is a real life Eric Cartman. And I'm embarrassed. Like, Stephen Colbert talked about on his show, and he said, we all expected this. Like, Donald Trump is predictable in the way he acts, but you didn't expect it to hurt so much, Like, that is the president of the United States, and he's acting like this. It's just... it's just a weird time. 2020 has been one hell of a year. My 60-year-old father even said, out of the 60 years of his life on this planet, this has been the weirdest year he's ever seen. So at least, hopefully, things can only go up from here, right? I hope so. And I don't have any sponsors or ads to break up these segments, so I guess I'll just get into the next subject I want to talk about, which is Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, he put out kind of a letter to the public a couple days ago. I'm just going to read it real quick. On November 6th in London, he said, in light of recent events, I would like to make the following short statement. Firstly, I'd like to thank everybody who has gifted me with their support and loyalty. I have been humbled and moved by your many messages of love and concern, particularly over the last few days. Secondly, I wish to let you know that I have been asked to resign by Warner Brothers from my role as Grindelwald in Fantastic Beasts, and I have respected and agreed to that request. Finally, I wish to say this. The surreal judgment of the court in the UK will not change my fight to tell the truth, and I confirm that I plan to appeal. My resolve remains strong, and I intend to prove that the allegations against me are false. My life and career will not be defined by this moment in time. Thank you for reading. Sincerely, Johnny Depp. If you don't know what's going on with Johnny Depp, his ex-wife, Amber Heard, has spent the last, couple years or so just completely slandering this guy. I'm trying to be very careful with how I approach this because this strikes a very personal nerve with me because of my experiences in life. But she's said, pretty much accused him of being a wife beater, just abusive, and just a nightmare to live with. And as things turned out, she was the one who was abusing him. Everything she accused him of is what she was doing. But for some reason, Johnny Depp took her to court for libel or slander, something like that. I should do more research. Note to self, do more research for a future podcast. But the judge sided with her. And there's been clear evidence that he's the one that's been beaten on and abused. So now he's losing. First he lost his role as Captain Jack Sparrow. in Pirates of the Caribbean because of this bullshit. And now he's losing his role as Grindelwald in Fantastic Beasts. And I'll admit right now I have yet to see any of the Fantastic Beasts movie, but I'll tell you one thing now, I'll never watch them. I've not seen Aquaman. I know I'm losing a lot of nerd cred right now because I'm a huge DC fan. I just, it kind of came out at a time when, things were crazy in my life. You know, I was living in Texas in a camper in the middle of a desert, and that didn't work out. And then I moved right by the ocean in Wilmington, North Carolina, and was scrambling just to survive there, so I didn't have time to watch movies much and things like that. But now I'm not going to watch Aquaman or Aquaman 2 because I'm not going to support Warner Brothers doing this to Johnny Depp, and I'm sure as hell not going to support Amber Heard being in the Aquaman movies. And here's why. I was in a relationship which was hell on earth from 2013 to 2015. The relationship officially ended in 2014, but no, actually all the way up to 2016, this girl made my life hell. And I have never been a victim of physical abuse. I'll say that right now. But I sure as hell have been a victim of mental and emotional abuse. The term gaslighting, once I found out what that term meant, this ex that I was with came to mind instantly. She was the most manipulative, gaslighting, evil, mentally and emotionally abusive person I've ever been around. And she pulled the same exact shit that Amber Heard has been pulling. Everything she would do to me after we broke up, she told everyone and blasted my name all over her Facebook. She told everybody that I did it to her. She would ridicule me for the way I dressed, the way I talked, the way I walked, even the way I sat. If I sat on a floor, I usually sat Indian style on a floor. Like one day we were at her family's house for a Christmas event, and all the seats we're all sitting gathered around a living room, you know, passing out gifts and doing a white elephant and things like that. And there weren't any chairs, so I sat on the floor and I sat Indian style, which, you know, is where you cross your legs together. That's how I've always sat when I have to sit on the floor. And she flipped out on me. She told me that was a feminine way to sit, and I need to sit like a man. She pulled a lot of these, be a man, act like a man, man up. You know, real men don't do this. Real men don't do the things you do. Just, it was a pure nightmare. And she also just, I'm not going to get too deep into this stuff because I put a lot of it behind me. I mean, it still does. I do still have kind of some PTSD from it. But the point is, I know what Johnny Depp has gone through. I believe Johnny Depp. I'm with Johnny Depp. I hope he appeals this case, and I hope he gets the justice he deserves. And I hope this destroys Amber Heard's career once it's all said and done. And I never wish that on anyone, but I've seen this kind of evil, and it's not right. It's like, oh, sorry. I'm just, I'm having flashbacks right now of things that woman put me through, and let's just say I finally blocked all communication with her last year. My life has been 1,000 times better ever since. One last thing I want to touch on I've been recording this podcast for quite a while. I'm about 25 minutes in. I'm trying to keep it about half an hour. As you know, if you listen to this, I'm in balance, and I make hip hop music. And the last album I made was in 2018, and I just want to formally announce I'm working on new music. This one's going to be a mixtape. I'm kind of, knocking off the rust. I haven't recorded or rapped or anything like that since releasing my last album. I've got my friend Dustin. Right now he's calling himself Nines. He could very well change his name by the time this podcast comes out. He's changed his name countless times, but he's figuring himself out just like I am. But the plan is, after I make a mixtape or two, that we're going to make an album together. He's honing his producing skills, and I have complete faith and confidence that he's going to be incredible at this craft. But in the meantime, I'm working on a couple mixtapes. The first one I'm working on, don't have a title for it or anything yet. I just started writing for it today. But I think people deserve something that they can listen to and it makes them feel good. And after everything we've been through this year, like we need some good feel good type of music, My last album was very dark, depressing. It's a very personal album, dealing with personal heartbreak and self-discovery, self-acceptance, and just kind of letting everything out about those feelings and putting it into a recording. And it turned out very dark and personal, and I'm proud of that album, but I don't want to make something like that again, or at least not for a very long time. I'm ready to party, man. Like, I'm ready to, just get it going, girl. So this album is going to be like, club anthems and just real inspirational type music, like a real positive vibes, just a good, happy message that everyone can enjoy and just, feel good when they listen to it. So, Imbalance is back in the game, bitches. And I'm really happy because these last couple of years they've been a hell of a ride, man. And I'm ready to tap back into my my creative vein and see what I can make. So I'm going to wrap up this podcast right here. We're almost at about 30 minutes. And I think I've talked my own ear off long enough. So I'm sure anybody listening to this, I've talked their ear off as well. So I'll see you all next time. And if you listen to this, give me some feedback. I'm probably going to post it on, Facebook, YouTube, and my SoundCloud. And make sure you check out soundcloud.com/imbalance, m-balance. And, look for new music soon. All right. See ya.